Welcome back to our final video in the series on developing digital breakouts for the classroom. This video is going to be entirely focused on creating the lock code system that we need for our digital breakout. Remember, lock codes are going to be like the virtual version of keys and combinations from an escape room, but for our digital breakout, we're going to use numbers and words. So let's jump right into it. Now you're going to see the PowerPoint that I've been referencing on all of our videos. Again, this is in the reference folder. I would strongly encourage you to look at slides 10 to 13 for the step-by-step breakdown on developing our lock codes rather. I'm going to walk you through that process here though. So we're going to use Google Forms to create the lock codes. We use Google Sites to build the actual website, and Forms is going to be our go-to for our lock code. So click New. We don't have Forms in our initial set of tools, so click More, and then you'll find Forms at the top of the next folder, the next window that pops up. Let's give this a title, the Crucible. And let's capitalize that, shall we? Lock codes. All right, give a brief description here, or some instructions. Complete activities to find the lock codes. Now I'm going to elaborate a little bit on these instructions after I've finished making the lock code form, and I'll explain the details you're going to want to add to that in that process. All right. The next thing I always like to do is to take care of the visual elements. So if you look at some of the optional tools up here, the paint palette is going to be your theme customizer. I like to use the header options that they have because it also creates good color schemes for the rest of your form. It's just about making it nice, right? I want something ominous and dark. I like that brick. That could work for 1692 as well. Yeah, I like that. That's good. All right, now I'm almost ready to get started. Before I start creating my lock codes in this form, I want to make sure I do them in the same order that they're going to appear, that the activities are going to appear in the actual breakout. I want to keep that uniform. So let's go to the digital breakout. This will look a little bit different than it was at the end of the last video because I've gone back and I've done a little bit of editing to it. I've added an actual scenario with Ouija boards and witch hunters. That seemed appropriate. You'll see we have our videos. What you won't see are those Google Forms, though, with the TED Ed questions. It's not that they're not here. It's that I've taken them out because they just were too clunky. They're too big. Instead, I've brought in some additional visuals that I've turned into hyperlinks. So this will take us to the TED Ed questions on the witch trials, and this will take it to the TED Ed on McCarthyism. Just like with our collage, taking us to the puzzle. And I turned the conflict word cloud into a hyperlink to go to our vocab pretest. So all of our materials are here. This big gap is where I'm intending to put the lock code form. So we'll see how well that works. So witch trials, McCarthyism, the puzzle, and then the vocab. That's the order we want to work in. Now, if we go to our resource page, remember that document, that one page that had all of our material in it. This is going to be where we've got all of our lock code information. You might recall from the last video, we had the lock codes. But if you look at this, I've actually added some additional information. And in hindsight, I'll probably do this for all my future reference pages for digital breakouts because it's going to make our process here a little bit quicker. I've typed in the number of letters and or words that are in the clue because we need that as our question in our lock code. And then if they get it wrong, I want to give them a clue. And so I've typed those up as well. You'll see what I'm talking about. So we're going to start with the witch trials, this one here. So let's go ahead and highlight that 8-letter lock code. Let's go into our lock codes. Oh, I just noticed that my lock code title isn't there. If you click up on the untitled form, it'll import whatever you have here. Okay, so for our lock codes, we will simply put in the clue that we want the kids to have. Sort of like crossword puzzle clue. Now the only additional thing I'm going to add here in parentheses, I'm going to write all caps. Why all caps? Well, in Google Forms, when you do these type of activities, it's going to check for a correct answer, and it is case sensitive. So if you don't tell them all caps or all lowercase, they could very well have the right answer, but since they capitalized something that shouldn't have been capitalized, or didn't capitalize something that needed to be capitalized, they're going to get it wrong. We don't want that to be the case. So just tell them all caps, and it's pretty simple that way. Okay, so 8-letter lock code, all caps. Well, we need to require that. Otherwise, why are we doing this activity, right? Now, how are we going to get Google Forms to check if the kids get it right? Well, we need it to validate their answer. We do that by clicking the stoplight. Move my head out of the way. There'll be an option titled Response Validation. Go ahead and click that. We've got some new options that have popped up. You can make your answer numbers or letters. I usually use letters, use words. It's going to contain. You can change it to doesn't contain, but quite frankly, I don't care what they don't write. I only care what they do write. And I know that the answer to this one was paranoia. Now, I know this goes without saying, type it correctly, first of all. If you misspell it and they spell it correctly, they're going to get it wrong. As an English teacher, you don't want that to happen. And also make sure it's all caps, because if it's not in all caps, then this clue is meaningless. Now, the last field to fill in is this custom error text. This is the clue that we want to give the kids in the event that they get it wrong. Now, I typed that clue up here. I'm going to go ahead and copy it, come back in, and paste it. So that clue is, watch the video on the Salem witch trials, and the people of Salem were suffering from this mental condition, paranoia, right? Now, if I don't put that in here, if I don't put this clue here, what will end up happening if they get the code wrong is that Google Forms is going to tell them this is the answer. I don't want that to happen. I want them to practice mastery learning. I want them to go back and look at the information again, look at the puzzle again, look at the riddle, watch the video, find the answer, right? But what I want to give them is some help if they couldn't get it the first round. And that's what this clue is going to do for them. So this is all set. All we need to do is add another question. And this is going to be the one on McCarthyism. So I'm going to go back to my form. I'm going to get my 9-letter code with 2 words. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste. So this is a pretty straightforward system. Add all caps. I'm going to require it. Do the stoplight, response validation, change number to text. Should say contains. This was witch hunt. And spell it correctly. And then I need my clue. Go back to my resource page and watch that McCarthyism video. And what did people consider his obsession? Right? A witch hunt. That's in. We're ready to go for the next one. And this is just going back to my reference page. So this is why that reference page is so very important. We want the one on the puzzle, so it's hypocrisy. So it's a 9-letter code. Now, you may notice that these are both 9 letters, but the reality is I'm not too concerned about that because the one is 2 words, the other is 1 word. I've told them that. So required, validate that response. I want text, and this is hypocrisy. Go get the clue. Again, it's on my reference page. Click the photo collage and build the puzzle. Just going to take them there, paste, add my last one. I only have 4 for this activity, and this is going to be hysterical, which is one of the vocab words, and I think a relevant vocab word to think about our themes. And we're always thinking about how we can interact with the text and how these activities are going to help support our ultimate analysis of that text. I'm going to require that, validate, make it a text, contains, and this is hysterical. Now, what I'm going to do here is leave this blank. I want you to see what's going to happen if you do leave it blank. So we've got all our questions in. Let's preview it. It's the eyeball up top. This is what their code will, or their lock code form will look like. So if they type something wrong, now this is something I'll add to the directions. Once they type the response, they have to hit the tab button. The enter button doesn't work for this. You have to hit the tab button. They hit tab. If it's right, then their answer will be black. If it's wrong, it'll go red. And it'll give you a clue. Watch the video. and it'll stay red until you put the right answer in. So that's paranoia. There you go. See, I went black now. And same deal. It'll give me the clue. So I can click back in it now and type in the right answer. This one was hypocrisy. Now, watch what happens in this last one. It must contain hysterical. Well, that's the answer. I don't want that to be the way this operates. And so I want them to be given a clue that they have to go back and complete the activity. So let's go back, get our clue, complete the vocab pretest, find your lock code. And here we go, hysterical custom error text. There you go. Now we're all ready. This is ready now to be put into our digital breakout. So let's go ahead and go back to our digital breakout. I have this space here dedicated for it. So hopefully that'll fit and it'll look good. So we'll double click in our canvas. I want to pull from my Google Drive folder. Let's move my head out of the way. Go to digital breakout, go to the Crucible. Here are my lock codes. Select and enter. Okay, this might work. Okay. All right, I'm okay with that. Now, I don't like this big gap here. I think I'll bring my photo collage up. Remember, none of this is set permanent. You can always move things around. I think I might want to center this. There we go. That looks good. It's about symmetry, right? Now, one thing you may notice, depending on how long your lock code form is, this is only 4 codes, and so it's pretty short. You may need to stretch it or shrink it to get that submit button to fit. So I like to make sure that that submit button is accessible. Otherwise, you can't turn it in. All right, so that's our digital breakout. There's only a couple things left to show you. First thing is, well, to publish it. When you have everything done, you have to click the publish button. Now, I've played with this a few times, so I've got some multiple drafts. Always click republish because this will now replace the old form with whatever the new version is. Unlike in a Google Doc or other Google tools, it doesn't automatically update. You need to push this out again. So now we've got this published as the new form. And the way we get it to our kids is go to the link up here. You'll say it says copy published site link. We're all ready to go. It's got a site link in here. We'll click copy. And now you're ready to post this wherever you have online access to your students. Google Classroom, Teams, if you're a Microsoft school, OneNote, if you have Schoology or Edmodo, whatever online platform you use, you're able to publish this to them. And so you're ready to go. One thing I forgot to remind you about. Before you give it to them, proofread, right? I tell my kids to proofread everything. We do that by clicking the preview. So make sure everything works. Don't assume, because the last thing you want to do is push this out and the kids are doing it live and nothing's working. And now you got to fix everything on the fly, which won't be easy to do. So just double check. Do your videos work? Yep. Okay, this looks good. Am I able to type into these forms, right? Okay, are they giving the clues? This one was what? Hypocrisy, I believe. Good. So just double check, make sure everything's working the way you want it to work. If it's not, now's the time to fix it. Do my hyperlinks here work? Good. Takes me to my Salem witch trials. That should take me to McCarthyism. Good. And it's just, an ounce of prevention, right? This is take me to my puzzle. And if you remember in our last video, I had the answer already posted. I didn't want that. So you make sure you turn that off. Good. That looks good. And then our pre-test for vocabulary. Perfect. It's all ready to roll. So now I know this is going to work. Now I know that it's set up exactly the way I want. If I needed to change things, I could do that and then republish it. The last thing just to remind you about, check the different formats. That's a cell phone format, that's a tablet format, that's a computer laptop format. Make sure this looks the way you want it to look for your students. So if you're an iPad school, or if you're a BYOD school, and you need to reorganize the layout to fit those different devices, you can do that before you publish it. All right, thanks for watching, folks, and I hope this was helpful. Take care.